How'd you hear about the teams?
It was a Popular Mechanics article that I read when I was in like 9th grade. And it was the first time I'd ever heard of it. And it showed, to me, like one of the things that I think recruits a lot of us is saying that it's actually the toughest military training. Yeah. People are by default, sure. Well, I'm going to go do that then.
For sure.
So that was part of it. Yeah, I mean, I read that, and that was at a time when I was getting, I got rolled up pretty hard a few times in high school, got jumped.
Yeah, you were talking about that in your first book.
Yeah.
You got rolled up a couple times and beat down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was a runt in high school. Like my freshman year, I was 5'4", 105 pounds.
That's fun.
And that was when it happened. Juniors and seniors just waylaying on me, and I didn't have much of a chance there. But and even when I graduated, I was the same height I am now, and I weighed 140. So when my first ID in the Navy, I was 145, and I'm 5'11". So. Yeah, I've put on a few pounds.
So did you do dive fair program or anything like that?
I didn't. When I originally tried to be a corpsman, and at that time, this was '96. They're like, "Yeah, we're pretty heavy on corpsman. Pick something else." And I was like, "How about intel specialist?" So I went to ISA school right out of boot camp, and when I graduated high school, I was 17 still, so I had to wait until I turned 18 to go to boot camp. So I went to boot camp in August, ISA school, and then checked into BUD/S in spring of '97. But I was the youngest guy in the class, and the whole deal.
And what did you weigh then?
I worked out pretty heavy in A school. I got up to about 155, I think. So yeah, I mean, I see pictures of post Hell Week and first phase. Like I look like I just broke out of Auschwitz.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to me,
Yeah.
But.
I weighed 175 when I showed up.
Same height?
Yeah, 5'11", 175, and I weighed 185 when I graduated. So I put on 10 pounds.
I did the same. I weighed 165.
I think if you're a little bit scrawny, because I was like a scrawny. I know 175 might not sound scrawny, but I wasn't. It was a pretty scrawny 175. Yeah. And then they put a little meat on the bones, as they say, because you can eat whatever. I would order a Domino's cheese pizza, extra cheese pizza, just about every night.
Yeah, I had a similar ritual. You remember the country store?
Yeah.
So at the end of every day after dinner, I would go to the country store, and there was that little McDonald's next to it.
Oh, yeah, you'd get some of that.
I'd get a quarter pounder with cheese value meal and eat that, and literally a box of 10 oatmeal cream pies, and a 64-ounce leaded Gatorade every night.
There you go.
And wolfed it down, no problem. And I gained like 8 pounds.
The thing is, and I was telling somebody about this, you run to chow and back. Every meal, you run to chow. It's a mile there and it's a mile back.
Yeah.
And you go 3 or 4 times a day because sometimes you go at midnight. So that means you're running between 6 and 8 miles every day before you even include any of the actual training. So you're doing a lot of physical activity. You can eat a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You can eat a ton.
Especially at that age, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then you couple it with being cold most of the day.
That's true. Yeah, you're burning. I wonder what you're burning for calories. It's a massive amount of calories.
It's got to be 10K plus.
Yeah. I didn't even think about the cold part.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're just cold all the time, just hammering calories away. Yeah. So you get done with BUD/S, and you were a swimmer, right?
I was,
So you're one of those people that I talk about, like swimming was just super easy.
Actually, no. I got rolled. I started with 214. I got rolled 6 days before going to San Clemente Island for swims.
You loser.
Yeah,
What's up with that?
Well, so here's
How is that?
I pinched my sciatic nerve at Laguna doing land navs.
Okay, you're not a loser.
So then I just failed everything. But it's kind of a running joke. Like, no, I got rolled for swims because it was the first thing that I failed 3 of. I failed everything after Laguna with the injury. But I will say that because I grew up in Iowa, my first time in the ocean was at BUD/S. I'd been knee-high water at Cocoa Beach on spring break or whatever, but I'd never been out past the surf. I'd never swam at night.
Did it freak you out?
A little bit. I mean, it was just it was like an over-stimulus type thing. But for me, not having a black line to look at, and having to guide off the coast, was a bit of a challenge. But for me, the biggest thing was actually swimming with fins.
Yeah, that's you know what? That's a good point. That's a good point. People, it's a totally different muscle.
Yeah, well, and you're from having swam. I mean, I grew up when I was from 5 until I graduated high school. I mean, I had partial scholarship offers, to some local colleges for swimming, and for me it came pretty natural. I mean, I was never a state champion, but I went to state and did all right. But growing up with that muscle memory of how to swim without ever using fins. The first time I put those on, those duck feet are like 2x4s. I mean, they just destroyed my ankles, especially being kind of scrawny anyway. Yeah. So for first phase, like my feet and ankles were just destroyed the whole time. Like for me, it was hard to swim, and I mean I could pass, but I wasn't the guys out in the front just turtlebacking and having fun.
Who were those guys?
I mean, there were some Olympic swimmers and water polo players.
Yeah, I had a couple of those guys where I just thought these guys were just studs, but they were swimmers. Yeah. So that's why I figured you were breezing through the swims too.
No, I mean, they didn't bother me, but I was middle of the road. I wasn't blowing anybody out of the water. I think for them, some of it is that in Iowa we were probably a little behind the power curve technology wise. Now they do use a lot of fins, little cheater fins and training fins and stuff, and so there's some more to it than that. Plus, the guys that I saw that did really well were more muscular than I was. For me, it was like those fins were about a quarter of my body weight. And it was like having concrete shoes going for a jog. I mean, it was like, it didn't do me any favors. It took some getting used to for sure. But
the runs and swims. I mean, what about the runs?
Runs, no problem either. No problem. Really, there was nothing that I would say that I struggled with. I wasn't the best at everything, but I wasn't getting gooned either. I was kind of a gray man on purpose, which is the best place to be.
One of my buddies, he would say that they started the goon squad every single time with him. Yeah, I know. Goon squad. If you're slow on a run, and you get to sort of the end, and then there's an instructor waiting. And from this point on, you're getting gooned, which means you're going to do a bunch of crap, and it's going to suck. And this guy was the beginning of the goon squad every time, which is not fun.
Yeah.